Oh, so today I want to talk to you about being stuck and how you can get unstuck if you feel that you're not progressing in your life in the way they should be. And I'm going to try to help you with this by telling you where I have been stuck over the last 30 days or so. Could be even more, probably more. And that is with you and I here in this YouTube channel. If you noticed that if you are a fan of the channel, you noticed that I did a bunch of videos and then it goes like this. Like I go in and I record like a madman, and then like you're like wondering like what happened to Chico, right? Did he just disappear and retire? And the answer is just I've been stuck. And I want to share this with you because we all get stuck. Sometimes when you look at someone like me and you in your mind think, oh man, Chico has his shit together, but it's far from that, right? Because nobody has their crap together. I don't care who you're talking to. You know, I was one of my guys that I follow online. He always talks about backstage versus front stage, right? You're always seeing somebody's front stage of their business. You're seeing what they want you to see, and what they're revealed to you. But in the end, you don't know what's happening behind the scenes. So it's very important for you to consider and think through that. And so I wrote down 3 things here, and the reasons why I'm stuck, and for you to think about where you might potentially be stuck in your business as well. And number 1, I got stuck. I got stuck because I had way too many things on my plate. There were way too many, and I'm a very ambitious person. There's so many things I want to do. There's so many things I want to learn. And I got stuck because I got overwhelmed with everything that we were trying to get done. You know, if you think about it, you know, there's YouTube, there's Instagram, there is I completely redid my course and my materials and put them in a new membership area for the students. We were doing paid traffic and working through our funnels and everything, you know, related to all the businesses. And there was just so many things to do. And I was trying to get them all done, but realized that at the end of the day, I just couldn't get them all done. And so then I ended up just making the decision that, hey, some things are just gonna have to suffer. And this channel, in terms of the frequency of the content, was one of those things that I made the conscious decision and say, you know, I have to be okay with the fact that this here is not gonna be looked at too intensely, maybe for the next 30 days. And that's something for you to consider, because I think a lot of times, and I just reading a post, not reading a post, but rather reading an email that was sent to us by a member of the Academy, and just reading quickly the email, I could tell that this person was just trying to do too many things, and that was the reason why they hadn't been successful in anything that they have done. And so what I would do is I would caution you that at the end of the day, you could only do so much. At the end of the day, you could only do so many things really, really well. And you really have to pick and choose in terms of figuring out what it is that you want, and what is it that what's the fastest path to get there. And I've been if you're not familiar, there's a concept called theory of constraints that was created first by this guy named Goldratt. He wrote a book called The Goal. I was introduced to the concept by one of my mentors, Rich Sheffrin. And I've been using that as over the last, maybe 3 weeks or so, for me to kind of go through my process of identifying what it is, what's the goal that I want to achieve, and to really be clear on that. Because, when it comes to, and this applies to you, when you're looking at so many things and you have so many things on your plate, then I think to a certain extent that's lack of clarity. Lack of clarity in terms of understanding where you want to go and what is going to take to get there. And so, like say, for example, with YouTube, it's very easy for me to, and I'm going to talk about this here as we talk about number 2, which is, so let's go back. Number 1 was I had way too many things that I had on my plate, and so I had to make a decision. Now, in order for me to make that decision, I had to really narrow it down in terms of figuring out what is the most important thing that's going to get me to where I want to go. And for me, the decision that I made was that, yeah, I could, like for example, I could grow the channel and I could do all these videos. And what I had noticed is when looking at other people's channels that had tremendous growth, there was no rhyme or reason. They were just consistently publishing content every single, day, and that was their main thing. That was their main thing that they were focusing on. or some of them, it wasn't the main thing, but something took off in their channel unintentionally. Like they didn't engineer that, and then all of a sudden now the channel grew. And so from a customer acquisition standpoint, I didn't want to put myself in a position. I wanted more control, and I felt that the most control I had was actually paying for traffic, which is what we do with the info business, and what we do with the real estate business is we pay for people to raise their hands and say, hey, I'm interested in what you got. I'm interested in learning more about you. And so that was really the decision about YouTube, is that rather than saying, hey, I'm going to hopefully get the YouTube gods to show grace upon me and give my channel the distribution I think that it deserves, then at the end, I decided, you know what, I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to focus on paid traffic and get it that way and pay for it. So that was a decision. Number two, the other reason I was stuck is because I was following what everybody else is doing. I have, over the last, my arm's getting a little bit, over the last 30 days, 60 days, I have gone through and completely trimmed my Instagram account. So I have eliminated pretty much, I follow just a handful of people, and I'm continually removing that. And what I felt is that I was paying too much attention to what everybody else is doing. In the beginning, it was good because I wanted to get market intelligence, but then it became like, you know, oh, look at this guy. Look at his Instagram. Oh, look at the YouTube. Oh, look at what that guy, look what, and look what they're doing, and why am I not getting those results? And then all of a sudden now it's just like this big rabbit hole. And so I see this all the time when you're looking at groups. You know, if you're in a group and you're seeing all these people have results, and you're like, oh, he's doing that, or they're doing this. Oh, let me look at this. It just completely it takes you away from your plan. It scrambles you. And then now all of a sudden you're going in a bunch of different directions. And so, and especially with the YouTube, you know, with the YouTube, I got a little bit frustrated because I'm like, man, my content is good. Look at this guy. He publishes a video every other month. And look at his growth. Look at how many, and when I looked at that, I'm like, that's what made my decision to say, hey, I got to focus on something that I know is going to bring results and I can control. But at the same time, I said, you're following all these people, and it's just taking you away from your goal and your focus and what you should be doing. And so then now I don't pay that much attention. I pay enough attention to kind of, from a, you know, like for example, I look at other YouTubers and I have an understanding of what they're doing. I always have an understanding of what other people are doing. But I think that the other way I could describe it is that I was kind of, what's the right word I'm looking for? I was kind of obsessed with keeping tabs on, oh, this guy and that guy and what, and then at the end, it didn't work out. And so that's one of the other things that I would recommend you is that once you come up with your direction that you're going, and I'm going to do another video on that, how do you pick your direction? But once you pick the direction, you really, the next step is to really block out the noise and to put yourself in a position where now you've made that decision, you're going to go forward with this one plan and minimize the decision. You're not making a plan forever, but at least if you say, over the next 30 days, I'm really going to focus on this, then do that and eliminate everything else. Don't pay attention to anything else, because otherwise then you're just going to end up getting your head scrambled. You're going to end up losing sight of what you were intending to do. And in the end, it's a problem. Yeah, the other thing is, let me see what I wrote down here, is perfectionism. Now, I'm going to go back. I'm going to talk about perfectionism, but let me just go back to keeping tabs of everybody else. The other thing that I noticed that I was doing, and you got to also think about this as well, because you're doing the same thing. I was following a lot of people with regards to training, right? So I had bought a bunch of courses and got involved with a bunch of programs, and now I was like trying to implement 3 or 4 or 5 different systems, and I realized that this ain't going to work. And so I had to hone it down and say, you know what, do my analysis, and out of everything, these 2 people here are it ends up being 3. 3 of them are the best people for me to follow. And this is in regards to paid traffic. So, you know, because my methodology was, let me focus on paid traffic, because then I'm doing paid traffic for my info business, doing paid traffic for real estate. So that is something that has great leverage, right? If I get better at that, I can use that on all the businesses. And and then, however, though, I had to come to a decision and say, well, out of these 10 people, these 3 really are the ones that resonate with me and the ones that I think that match closely what I'm trying to accomplish. So I'm going to only focus on them, and then nobody else. So for you, you got to do the same. You know, if you're following 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 different real estate gurus, you got to pick 1 or 2. You know, that you think, hey, those are the ones that I resonate with. Those are the ones that are using a strategy that I believe works, right? Because you're seeing evidence. Like with me, you see evidence all over the place. Students having great success, and then decide to focus on that and nothing else, and eliminate everything else. And that's what I decided to do. So, you know, that's the other thing. So let's talk about perfectionism. Perfectionism is where, you know, I get stuck on that because, like, with the videos, I'm like, well, I got the DSLR, and what about should I do a video with these things, you know, these graphical things coming across the video, and I just got stuck because I want the video to be perfect, and in the end, I even despite me wanting to make those videos perfect, in the end, they didn't perform any better than anything else, and so. You know, a guy that I follow online, Frank Kern, he says motion beats meditation. And, you know, imperfect action. You've heard that before. And, you know, I'm not saying go willy-nilly, meaning that you're just going to take, you know, just not think through. I'm not a hey, I'm going to take action and without thinking about it. I am a very methodical person. I will lay out a plan and then put myself in a position where I know mentally that, hey, this is the right plan for me to follow. And everybody has their own grades or the way that you do that, right? Some do it more than others. I tend to do it more than others because I'm more anal retentive, detail oriented. And you got to figure out what works best for you. But at the end, you have to know that it's there's a book called Getting to Plan B, which is where you think the plan you think will work is not going to work. It's the iteration of that plan. You know, it's the B version, C version, etc. that ends up being the one that works. It's the same thing that happened with Facebook when I was trying to learn Facebook ads and trying to implement it for real estate investing. I had a particular in mind about how I thought it would work. And the first time, second time didn't work. And it was really only through a couple of iterations that then I figured out what worked. But I couldn't have done that hadn't I started. And so I see that with a lot of the students. If you're in my Facebook training program, you know, I see that where people get stuck because they think it's going to work one particular way, and then they get stuck because if it doesn't work that way, then they get stuck. And so you have to think about it in terms of that, you know, that it's an iteration of your plan, right? It's not whatever plan you think is going to work. It's the version 1, 2, or 3 that ends up working. And you know. So those are the 3 things that I wanted to share with you today. Is that number 1 is you get stuck by focusing on too many things. I got stuck by keeping tabs on what everybody else was doing as opposed to sticking with my plan and what I wanted to do. And perfectionism, you know, wanting my plan to be perfectly laid out, and in the end, I got to get it going. And so, see, the same problems I have is the same problems you have. Maybe we're operating in different businesses, or I have different opportunities available to me, but in the end, it's all the same thing. It's all the same thing. And when it comes to this channel, you know, I'll make a comment about this, is that the challenge I was having is that when I was paying attention to what everybody else was doing, a lot of people were doing these trending videos and focusing on the stimulus payments, right? And I did one video on that, but I'm like, I don't give a damn about the stimulus payments. If I did a bunch of videos about the stimulus payments, and I got a bunch of videos, a bunch of people here just wanting to know more about stimulus payments. I don't care about real estate. So I'm like, I don't want that. It's like having a house party and inviting everybody, you know, putting a flyer and everybody comes in and you're like, I don't know who these people are. I don't even want to hang out with them. I want to hang out with you. If you're here because you want to learn real estate, so I'd rather I made the decision, I said, so the decision that I made about the channel is a couple things. You know, I have the fundamentals. I know what the fundamentals are with regards to the channel in terms of like, hey, you know, that everything that needs to get done, right? But at the end, when it comes to content, I'm just going to pop up my phone and I'm going to talk about the things that I want to talk about, the things that I think you want to hear about. Yes, I'm going to make my effort to do the best I can with the videos, but at the end of the day, I'm letting it go. I am letting it go. I get a lot of people and maybe you're the same, you get to know me because of this channel, you get to be a customer because of this channel. And so it is an important part of what I do. I enjoy making the videos, but I'm just gonna let it go. I'm just gonna do the videos as I see them. I'm gonna try to stick with the goal is to try to do at least 3 videos. I think that's what Justin on my team said. I gotta do 3 videos. So I'm gonna get back on track with that, but I'm not gonna overthink it. So I would encourage you not to overthink things, just to kind of go with it, allow things to develop. And in the end, that's it. So just wanted to let you know that I get stuck just as much as you get stuck, and it's okay. And I'm here to help in any way I can. And we're on the journey together. That's all I have to say. And watch one of the videos that pop up here. How about that?